Hello, my name is Matthew Cole, and this is the testing section for my Computer Science A-Level NEA project. To begin with, I would like to quickly demonstrate how this recording will take place, and that is that, as you can see here, the left-hand side of the screen will be taken up mostly by the server scripts, while the right-hand side will be taken up by the client scripts. Anything else like a GUI, for example, will mostly likely belong to the client scripts, but I'll explain as and when they appear what they belong to and what they're doing. So, to begin with, I'm going to start the server script on the left-hand side. And as you can see, nothing will appear on the screen other than in the terminal. It will display the IP addresses. Then, on the right hand side, when we launch the sign-up page, opened by the client, it will then pop up with the opening GUI. Here the user is able to sign up by entering their username and password. In this case, I'm going to enter the first user to the database, which is currently empty, and call myself John Smith. There we are, with a password of nothing. And in fact, to begin with, I'm going to enter nothing and sign up, and you can see that it says the username in too short. Then I enter something, and it says the password must be at least 8 characters long. So then I'm going to put password in all lowercase, and it will tell me that there are no uppercase values in the password. So okay, I'm going to change the first P to a capital P. Sign up now, and it says you must include a number. Now, the end password here is password1 with a capital P. Then when we press sign up, we've signed into the main menu script. As you can see, it displays on the client's terminal all the errors that are going on. And on the server terminal, it explains to us everything that's going on. For example, a sign up was just made, all the codes that's going through, and some testing data. Now, to demonstrate this was definitely worked and saved, I'm going to close the sign up page script and open the login page script, which is very similar to the sign up, as you can see here, except for this way we're able to do, as it says, login. So if I enter some data that doesn't exist, for example, admin doesn't exist. In fact, I'm going to enter nothing like before, and login does nothing. I enter just a username, and press login, nothing happens. I enter password, and still nothing happens because the user doesn't exist in the database. If I enter password 1, like the other user, it still doesn't find it. However, when I enter John Smith, as we've already created, it does indeed sign me into that user we have just created previously. The first thing to test when on the main menu is the revision tab, and this is this section, this left-hand side section of the main menu. And when run, the user will press the button revise, which will open a new page called revisionrules.py, which will give the user some instructions about what they're going to do next. And as you can read on here, it just gives some description about what the game is. They have the option to go back, which when pressed will take them back to the main menu when nothing has changed at all. However, if they want to press start, what will happen is they will be taken to question 1 in their section, where this is some temporary data with just some sample information. So for example, question 1, and all it does is tell me the index. In real life, this would be a question of some sort, and these are the 4 possible answers. And just to make this even more clear, I've labeled one of them correct, all the rest are incorrect. And every time this is run, this will be randomly placed in any 4 of the positions. It could be anywhere. But just for testing purposes, I'm going to show which one is which. So when we press the correct button, you can see that it lights up green, and the next button appears. When this happens, this will then take us to the next question. This should change to question 2, which it does. And we can see the question has changed as well. This one is question index 1. There's some more answers, and this is a little bit more complicated. This is the correct answer. This is the incorrect answer. This is also incorrect. They're all randomly positioned. So I'm going to press this is the correct answer. And same as before, this one will turn green. Now this time I'm going to try and get this one purposely wrong, just to make a point. And this time it says I can tell you that this one is the correct answer. So instead I'm going to press this one. And as you can see, the correct one does light up green as before, but the one that we press shows up red to indicate to the user that they got the question wrong. And so now if I was to just go through the rest of the questions by pressing the same button, you can see the number at the top is continuously rising until we get to the number 10, which instead of saying next, the button then says finish. And when we do so, it then opens the final tab, which is summarypage.py, where my mouse is currently hovering over. It will then display to the user what percentage their score was, gives them a little motivational message that will change depending on their score, and then gives them a little message to keep them going as well. All they can do from this point is then return to the main menu, which will then open the main menu page again. And as you can see now, it's updated the user's stats column with the current most updated stats about themselves. Just to make a point of what's going to happen now in order to show you how well this is working, I've just gone through the revisions up again. I'm going to press finish once more. I got a 30% score again, but then when we go back to main menu, you can see that the scores have added together to make a total of 20 questions answered, 6 in total, and the percentage remains at 30%. So as you can see, every time the revision tab is run, these scores over here will be updated for the user to see the most updated version of their scores. The next section due for testing at this point is the middle section, and this is labeled Section Viewer. As you can see, it simply just has the title Section Viewer, where we can view our progress tree and displays the topic which we're currently studying. So when the button Progress is pressed, you can see that we are displayed with this information, which is actually a tree, and will allow the user to change topics that they want to study. So as you can see, these are all the topics available to the user. However, because they're all the colour grey, none of them are able to be switched between. So this means the red means that we are currently on topic 1, which we are, but we cannot switch to any other topic because we haven't unlocked them just yet. In order for the user to unlock more topics, they have to have reached certain checkpoints on the previous topics. So for instance, if the user wants to unlock section 2, they would have to have answered at least 80 questions in question 1 and have an average correct percentage answer rate of 80%. Once that's been accomplished, section 2 will then become unlocked for the user and they can study either topic as they choose. As you can see now, I've just gone through the revision tab quite a few more times. I've now answered 110 questions. I got an 88 correct, showing that the accuracy is now 80%, which means that I've answered at least 80% correct and answered at least 80 questions in total. This means that now when I go into the Progress tab, you can see that section 1 has now become green to indicate that I have now completed that topic, and section 2 has changed to orange, showing that it's now unlocked but has not yet been completed. So when they decide to click on number 2, the red number will change to number 2, 1 will change back to black, and that means that I can change between these two topics. These topics will still remain off as they have not yet been unlocked. What you can now see is when I go from section 1 and back as I was before, I can still see all the data for section 1 only. And when I go on, my mistake, wrong topic, when I go on section 2 and go back, all the data here is now changed as this is only the data referring to the topic that's currently being selected. So I'm just going to quickly speed and do another round of this. And as you can see, when we go back to main menu, the section data has updated purely for section 2. If we were to go back again to section 1, it would bring us forward to section 1 data, back to section 2, just the section 2 data. And this is true for all of the other tabs on here. The final section to cover is the right-hand section of the main menu, the Stats and Settings page. As we've already covered, the stats will display the most recently updated data about the user's section they're currently studying, and will be updated every time the main menu tab is opened. However, when the settings button is pressed, we can see that there are 3 options for the user to change. The colour refers to the background colour of all the windows. So for example, we can type in the word green, hit apply, and this will be changed for all other menus and windows. This is consistent throughout the rest of the program. We can enlarge the font, and that will enlarge it between 0.8 times the original. Bearing in mind that we're on currently 1, if we press apply, all other fonts throughout the program will be applied by this factor. If we apply 0.7 just beneath, nothing will change at all. If we press 1.2, the maximum we're allowed, the font becomes much larger and consistently throughout the program. And if we type 1.3, just a bit too big, and hit apply, nothing will change throughout the program, but will remain at 1.2. I prefer 1, so we're going to go back to that. And just lastly, we can see we can change the font style. To drastically change it, we can see that we can type in something like Wingdings, and that will apply it through these. However, I don't like that, so I'm going to switch back to Arial. The last thing we can also change here, if we'd like to, is the colour. It doesn't have to necessarily be a word. It can be a hexadecimal colour, reference to a colour. So for example, we can type in a hashtag followed by 6 hexadecimal values. For example, 565656. Hit apply, and that will change the colour. And that will also, as usual, be consistent throughout the rest of the program. However, I'm not a fan of that, so we'll switch back to blue. One of the last things to test is the user being able to update its data on the server's database. And so the way to test this, and this may be a little bit more complicated with things on the screen, is being able to see what everything is displaying. So I'm going to move the main menu screen up to the top, just for the moment. At the bottom left, we can see exactly what's being displayed by the server. And on the right hand side, there's another script that displays when commanded to, everything that's currently in the server, in the database on the server. I've just pushed the client script off to the right hand side, but as you can see, it's still there. And this terminal is displaying nothing at the moment, as we haven't done anything. So to begin with, I'm just going to read everything that's in the server at the moment when pressing 1. And as you can see, it displays only some information. It just tells us John Smith and password 1, which we've got as username and password. That's the color, which we currently have as the background. It tells us that we're currently selected on topic 2, as you can see here. And we have completed topic 1. So that's all we need to know for the moment. However, when we go back to the main menu, click on the progress. I'll go back to section 1 being selected and go back. That's okay. We're on section 1, we should know it's okay. However, when we open the client script terminal, we can see that details updated on the database. And we can check this by going back to our program here, typing in 1 again. And as we can see, this has changed. It tells us that John Smith and password 1, same as before, same color. Topic 2 has now changed to topic 1 as that is being selected, and topic 1 is still complete. We can even furthermore check this as being complete by changing the color, for example, to something along the lines of, say, green. Go back. And again, on the client script, it says details updated on the database. And we can check this once more by going on to here, pressing 1, and we can see that it says green, topic 1 for John Smith, password 1. And so therefore we can ensure that definitely every time the main menu script is opened, it's saved. Okay now, so having rearranged the windows back to how they used to be before, with the server on the left and the client on the right, I'm now going to demonstrate what would happen if the server were to be, say, offline. So I'm going to demonstrate that. I'm going to turn off the server, and that is completely off. Now, what might happen, as you might expect, is if the user were to try and update the server with any information, it wouldn't be able to receive any data or save it or anything like that. So I'm just going to test it by going on to progress and then going back. Instead of crashing and not being able to save, it's going to open a new thread, try to save, and as you can see, it tells us that the server appears to be offline, and it's telling the user that it's currently off. So this is the best we can do, as of course the client can't turn back on the server, but it's able to detect that the server is offline and tell the user it's offline, your data has not been saved. That's everything to demonstrate in this video. I hope you liked my project, and thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.